So we don't have a presentation. We're not raising money. We're kind of just updating on our latest project. But before I do, to get an idea how I should go through this, can you raise your hand if you're American? Okay. Okay. So Paul's going to be doing most of the talking because this is a very American subject. I was just at Satoshi Roundtable, and I'm like, this is the most brilliant idea in the world. And everybody's like, who the fuck is Alex Jones? All right, so InfoWars is an infamous website. He's a conspiracy. Alex Jones is a conspiracy theorist, and after one of the worst school shootings in U.S. history, where a teenager literally shot a bunch of 5- and 6-year-olds, he said it was all BS, and it was staged by liberals who didn't want there to be guns, and that there was actors who did it all. Well, the families of the victims sued him, won $1.5 billion. And this whole thing's played out in courts over years. It's been in all the major news outlets: New York Times, Wall Street Journal, CNN, Fox News, all the news outlets you non-Americans probably don't look at. So I'm following along with the story over the last couple of years, and then the Onion, which you might have heard of because they have a little more of a global audience than InfoWars. It's like this satirical fake news site. The Onion offered the families $1.75 million. Alex Jones offered for his own site back $3.5 million. The families took the Onion offer because they wanted him off air, but then the judge shot that down and said he couldn't buy it. So at that point, we kind of saw an opportunity, and we launched Wars.AI, which has a token, but we also offered $3.5 million plus 51% of the tokens to the family. And it is agentic AI. So the Wars.AI AI will troll people on X and do all kinds of things. Since you guys don't really know much about this project, I'm going to let Paul talk a lot about what Wow.AI, the parent company of all this stuff, what we actually do. We build entertaining AI agents. This is our second. We've got a whole bunch more to come. Most of our AIs are just here to have fun. This particular one, we're having fun with something. We're making something fun out of something that was horrible. And the tokenomics of this whole thing, actually, before I hand the mic over, can you scroll down a little bit on the webpage? Because this is really important. Keep going, 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 keep going. Stop, wait, down, down, down. Now stop. Okay, so this is important. Because 51% of the tokens are locked up for the families of the victims over 5 years. And Wow.AI will abstain from voting. So the way we have this structured is when and if we win the auction, we're going to let the token holders stake tokens and decide who we let control the website. So if you consider Onion a very left-wing company and Alex Jones an extremely right-wing company, we're giving the families a third option. Something where they can decide, the ultimate outcome. Maybe fans of both people will vote on the tokens, but this thing is likely to play out in court for like well over a year. I mean, the judge literally yelled at the lawyers, said, I want this done in 2025, which means it's unlikely to be done in 2025. And he said that the first week of January. So, which is good news for the token. But it's also good news for the families because they're gonna be able to decide by the time this thing is said and done, they will have two choices. They can sell the tokens for cash, or they could stake the tokens and be the largest voting shareholder to decide what happens to the site. Maybe the Onion ends up with it, maybe somebody else does. So we are decentralizing and letting the people decide ultimately what ends up happening with the whole thing. But we also do a bunch of really cool shit with agents. So I'm going to hand it over to Paul to talk about things that we're doing here, things that we're building for future agents, because we are an AI entertainment company in agentic AI space.
Sweet. Hey guys. So I'm gonna kind of give you a little background on Wow, what we're working on, what we're building with agents, and particularly what we're doing here as well as kind of where we're going with it. As Rick was telling you, right, Wow is an AI entertainment company. So our plan is to, build a bunch of entertaining apps, right? That make you say "wow" when you see them is the goal. So everything is going to kind of have a unique approach. A lot of what we're doing is building tooling around our agents so that we can slowly kind of whip out these projects faster and faster. In particular, what I'll kind of overview here, what we're doing is how we're setting that up. We have 2 projects live right now. The first one we launched was Trump.ai, and then we just launched Wars, and then we're teeing up for another site in a couple weeks. Our approach towards agents is that you build these teams of experts that attack a bunch of different individual problems, and then you can leverage those to just automate things, right? So if we kind of leverage just existing tooling, we can automate a lot of the operations, the marketing, the management, the engagement around these projects, so that we can grow and build entertaining apps. So what I'll kind of do is give you an overview of how the Wars agent works and what we're doing with it, so you kind of get a little behind the scenes understanding of it. The Wars agent we've built because InfoWars is such a conspiracy theory website. We've built this agent that trolls conspiracy theorists on Twitter. So its whole purpose is to go and take the counterpoint and reply to posts and try to farm engagement that way. And the way that we do this is we actually build these agent swarms that dictate the response, right? So we have special agents that listen to news feeds, agents that subscribe to Twitter feeds and look for just like what we classify as interesting events. And then we slowly pass those through these different circuits to then engage and respond, right? So like the way that it works behind the scenes is like we've got a news agent. That news agent will pass it to a content generation agent. That content generation agent will go and it'll hit special databases and pull up all these satirical references related to similar news events and stuff we've scraped off of the internet, and then it'll slowly draft different content. Now what's really cool is because this is all automated, right? And it's we can store tons of data in a database. The name of the game is data, and getting as much data as you can about whatever you can, and then using that data to make decisions. So we scrape data about anybody that engages with the bots. We take that data and then we slowly build and evolve these different pipelines around trying to define what that person cares about, what they like, what they don't like. We then start to test different strategies around, hey, if we agree with this person on Twitter, do we get engagement? Or if we, poke this person on Twitter, do we get more engagement, right? And different accounts have, different followings. And so it's slowly building out all this different tooling around, how do you try to classify a user so that you can farm engagement? And then how do you build systems so that you can write quality content, right? So it's a very, we like to look at it as in, you take a normal team of people, right? You've got a marketing team, you've got a planning team, you've got a content team, and you break down all these individual roles, and then you build agents that, solve very specific tasks. What's cool about LLMs is they help you solve abstract things pretty well. So if you kind of define something very specific, like, hey, let's write a tweet. Now, all you need to do is provide a bunch of reference tweets that are around what you want to write, and you'll get relevant content. And then you can build another agent that just reviews it, right? So we have agents that do content moderation. It's very simple stuff like, hey, does this contain any racism? If it does, we flag it, we kick it out. You have one that looks at it and it says, hey, here are our top engaging posts. Everything we post, we're constantly tracking to see what the engagement is. We track engagement of other people's posts to pull the most engaging stuff and use that as references. And then it's just a matter of, stringing everything together.
Yeah, I mean, for those, I guess I'll do another poll. Who's heard of Eliza? Eliza, we got one. Virtuals. Okay. Well, those are our competitors. They're in the AI agent crypto space. The two big players are Eliza and Virtuals. I was telling people in October that there'd probably be 100,000 AI agents with tokens in January, and over 50% of all transactions on blockchains would be done by AI agents by the end of 2025. I no longer believe that because it's a lot harder to build than just launching a token on pump.fun. I thought everybody would be doing it. To me, an automated, unpaid KOL that's going to tweet until the end of time, well after I'm long and dead, continue promoting a project and trying to accomplish mission makes all the sense in the world. I don't know why we're all not building them. We're building them. But it's difficult. And a lot of what he was just saying is that what's currently on the market in the crypto space, the two leaders, Eliza and Virtuals, are these single agent systems. But HSBC, Samsung, whatever airline you flew here on, they would never have a single agent system running their business. They build agent swarms. They have a team of people building teams of thousands of agents. Each one's doing specialized tasks. And then just like a company would have a finance department, a marketing department, et cetera, they report to captains, so the ultimate report to the CEO, right? So that's the way we're tackling it. We're taking an enterprise approach to these projects, and each agent that we launch is a little more complex than the previous agent, but we're able to roll back and update all the past agents because everything's done in such a modular way. And the coming one that we're launching soon, which we can't tell you what it is, but it's going to have a lot more control over the wallet itself. So it's going to be in charge of its own finances. It'll be, trying to maximize its own revenue so it can use that revenue also to help accomplish its goal. That's about us.
Agents are cool.
Agents are cool. Agents are cool. Any questions?
How do the agents figure out, like I've noticed these, we have a token, Chinchai does, and I've noticed that all of a sudden I find these agents, like they find a liking to a project. And then maybe they're getting more engagement, so they keep posting about the project. Is that what happens? Because I noticed certain agents pick certain projects.
Or did you get like AI16Z or one of those looking at you? Yeah. So those are agents that are specifically looking at crypto projects, and they probably had someone ask them about it. And so then it just simply read a bunch of stuff about it and regurgitated information. Usually there has to be some kind of human in the middle to cause it to do that.
I've been wondering because now I see it posting on its own. If anybody asks anything about RWA or anything, it'll be like, "Oh, Chinchai is the one you want. Here's all the reasons why." And I'm like, "That's really interesting." I'm like, "I got my own."
You're like, I like that.
Yeah.
You're like, I like that.
Yeah.
No, AIXBT has a pretty sophisticated system. So it's all about data, right? So they do a lot of indexing of a ton of different token data. They filter out scams, and then they store user interaction data. And that's their whole purpose, is to answer questions and to talk about like what's happening on chain, as well as like showcase up and coming projects and so on. So they've built the aspect of like, let's build a financial agent that kind of helps in that aspect. But they're definitely one of the most like sophisticated agents on the market right now.
Go to Wow.AI and leave the contact information box up.
Yeah.
This stuff is so, I literally see something.
Well, so what we're gonna do with this is we'll roll out a leaderboard on this site where you'll be able to pay the agent to go troll like your friend's account.
Yeah. Like anything they post or reply to, will be right behind them for like a week just to mess with them.
Well, you can create IRLs too, like right.
Yeah, exactly.
You need to get more impressions on a post.
Yeah. Just go to Wow.AI homepage for me real quick. I got to give you some call to action here because not much action in the room right now. All right. So this is, I'm hoping the little pop-up comes up. Maybe you got to click accept all.
You have to scroll for it.
Oh, scroll just a little bit.
Oh,
there, stop. Do this. Here's your call to action. So we're launching agents like every couple of weeks. They all have tokens. They're all going to have KOLs. They're going to live out there forever, promoting those tokens. If you want to know what the next one is, we need one of these 4 things. Give us all 4 of those things. You'll probably find out about it before any of your friends. Wow.ai. Just sign up. That's the big call to action.
What's the Trump AI? What's going on with that?
He's still out there. His community keeps growing. He's never gonna stop being Trump. We're actually thinking about turning him into an avatar and putting it on what's his face's metaverse. Where'd he go?
Right now he makes memes, but we've been doing a lot of work around indexing a couple books that he's written to build funnier content. We've been indexing a lot of like comedy shows to pipe in stuff, different comedy sites. He'll make merch. We're working on stuff so that the agents can control ads and buy traffic. So it's just a slow grow.
I'm trying to buy 1-800 Trump AI so you can call him if you happen anybody knows the number. And I really am thinking about making him an NPC where he can walk around and be a non-playable character in video games. I mean, he's just endless fun. Endless fun.
I think you're share with everybody your background of like what you did before this, because I think that's fascinating.
Well, you really do have time to kill.
Yeah, we do.
All right. His other speaker didn't show up. No, I'm just a guy that was in the right place at the right time. Registered a bunch of domain names in the early 90s. This is a short version of the story. Took a hosting company public on NASDAQ. He was making $1 million a year at Coinbase, so we're not complete fools. This stuff really should work. Anything else? Should we dance for 10 minutes?
How many domains do you still own now?
1.8 million, something like that.
1.8 million domains.
Yeah, the original NFTs.
So you're the person we have to thank for when we're trying to get a domain registered.
Probably.
I have a question. So if we have some ideas, how can we do some sort of collaboration for, let's say, a Trump alternative for other geographies?
If you have a major community in something, or if you represent a major brand, then we could talk. If you just live in a country that you want to make fun of your president, I mean, if you work for the president, we could talk. If you run the community, we could talk.
No Libra.
If you own the brand, we can talk. You're just from Argentina or Brazil or wherever it is. I mean, but no, we're absolutely looking for licensing and partnership opportunities too. Or AI developers that want to bring a cool project to the table too, because it takes a village, especially when you're launching so many.
Like in a year from now, how many do you think that you guys will have launched?
At least 8.
He never
Hopefully
discussed that
more.
number with me, so I don't.
We've got like 6 queued up for the next couple months, so
Very cool.
we'll see what comes after that.
No. Tough crowd.
We're trying to help out.
Yeah. Well, we could just end it.
Put it on the
We don't have to stay up here. I can just walk off right now.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks.
internet. Yeah.
All right.